Hey everyone, I hope you're well. This is the story about what if Naruto was Tobirama's grandson and had ice release. Before we start, please subscribe to the channel and like the video as well. So without any further ado, let's start the what if. Room 301. As the candidates take their seats, Ibiki informed them that they only have an hour to answer all 10 questions of the written test. They have 45 minutes to answer the first 9 questions, while the 10th and final question will only be given at the last 15 minutes of the test. The weird part was that the test is conducted on a point reduction system. Each candidate will begin with a perfect score of 10 points. 1 point will be deducted for each wrong answer. So if they miss 3, their final score will be 7. And if they miss 10, they will get a 0. The second rule is that the teams that passed or fail will be based on the total scores of all 3 members. So if one gets a 0, they will all fail. Which obviously sparked some cries of outrage from the candidates, but they were immediately silenced by Ibiki's killing intent. The sentinels that are positioned around the room are there to watch very carefully for any signs of cheating. And for every attempt they spot, the sentinels will subtract 2 points from the candidate's score. So if a candidate is caught cheating 5 times, they will be immediately dismissed from the classroom along with their teammates. Right now, every teammate was completely separated from each other. Ino was sitting next to Omoi at the back lane, while Shikamaru was sitting next to Temari at the far right side of the middle lane. Naruto was sitting at the center area, 2 lanes behind Shikamaru, and 3 lanes in front of Ino. Naruto noticed the person sitting next to him is the same Kusa Kunoichi, with red hair and glasses, that he saw earlier. He also noticed that she was staring at him with wonder and curiosity in her red eyes. Like she was trying to read him. And since the exam hasn't started yet, he decided to introduce himself. "Hi," Naruto whispered, snapping her out of her dreamy daze. "I'm Naruto," he greeted with a friendly tone. "Oh, hi. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to stare. I'm Karen. Nice to meet you, Naruto." She whispered back shyly. "Haha, it's okay, nice to meet you too, Karen," Naruto whispered back with a smile. After their introduction, it was a few seconds of uncomfortable silence between them, as Ibiki continues to explain the rules in detail. Naruto then noticed Karen was getting nervous by the minute, so he decided to ask. "Nervous?" Naruto whispered to her. "A little. I mean, not for me, I'm actually fine when it comes to studies in general. I'm just worried about my boneheaded teammates," she whispered, with a disappointed sigh. Naruto simply chuckled at this, which made Karen blush when she saw his warm smile. "Well, I'm sure it'll be fine. Don't worry, Karen. You look like a smart girl. And I'm not just saying that because you're wearing glasses and all. In fact, they just make you look cute. And I'm positive that you'll at least pass this part of exam with flying colors," Naruto whispered with another warm smile, which made Karen blush even deeper, especially from his compliment of her. "Thanks, Naruto. That really means a lot to me," Karen whispered back more shyly, as she was playing with her red hair, trying to hide her growing blush. Naruto then heard a very familiar and slightly angry voice in his head. "You done yet, Naruto-kun?" Ino asked in his mind, with an annoyed tone. "Oh, hey Ino-chan. I was just..." Naruto said nervously. Yeah, whatever, Casanova. You need to keep that silver tongue of yours on a leash," Ino said with a huff. "Any chance that particular leash happens to be your own tongue, milady?" Naruto jested with a smirk. This immediately made Ino blush heavily. "Be baka. Stop it. Anyway, I made this mind link, just in case of an emergency. And like always, I was right." She smiled proudly of herself. She then turns her head to look at Shikamaru's direction. "Shika? Can you hear us?" Ino asked through the mind link. "Unfortunately, yeah. You guys already know what we need to do, right?" Shikamaru asked his blonde teammates. Yeah, apparently, we need to cheat. Ibiki-san made that very clear. Let's just hope the others figure it out as well, Naruto thought. Sigh, troublesome. I just hope Choji will be okay though. He's the only one out of 9 of us, without a hidden technique, Shikamaru said worriedly, as he looked at the extremely nervous Akimichi in front of him. Then Ibiki said the one word that immediately sent shivers down everyone's spines. Begin. As everyone looked through the questions, their eyes immediately widened with shock and disbelief. The questions are definitely not meant to be taken by genins. It was far too advanced. By the Sage of the Six Paths, I don't think any of us can answer these. Ino thought nervously. Naruto agreed, as he looked around and noticed that there were some candidates who are able to answer the questions with ease, including his favorite Pinkette. It looks like Sakura is doing fine. Naruto pointed out. Not really surprised though. What else is stored inside that big forehead of hers? Ino joked. Probably fantasies of Naruto, Shikamaru simply said, and he could literally feel Ino's angry glare at the back of his head, but didn't care. Ino-chan, be nice. Shika, please don't joke about that. Also, any chance you know the answers for these questions? I might be able to answer questions 2, 5 and 6, but the rest is a puzzle for me, Naruto informed. I think I can answer questions 1, 4 and 8, but I'm completely blank on the rest. I prefer making tactical strategies than mathematic equations, Shikamaru admitted. I guess we have no choice but to cheat then. However, I don't have the means to subtly steal answers in this situation, and neither is Shika. So it's up to you, Ino-chan. Naruto said. I'm on it, Ino said, as she turned her gaze towards Sakura, and made a single unique hand seal. Ninja art, mind transfer jutsu. And just like that, Ino's body fell limp on her table, as she projected her consciousness into the unsuspecting Sakura, and immediately took control of her body. She then proceeded to memorize the Pinkette's answers, before returning into her own body, and sharing them with Naruto and Shikamaru. As the test continues, many candidates who attempted to cheat, but was caught 5 times, were immediately kicked out of the class, along with their teammates. Some even tried to fight back, but was immediately taken out by the sentinels. The Rookie 9 and the teams, from Suna, Oto, Taki, Kyomo and Root, were having a better time than the rest, as they managed to figure out the secret of the test, and use their own cheating method. Kiba uses Akamaru to spot the answers for him. Shino uses his parasitic beetles. Dosu uses his unique hearing ability to listen to the RHYT duration and frequency of the pencil stroke from the person behind him. Tenten uses mirrors and ninja wires on the ceiling to cheat from Shino's paper, somehow, and share the answers with Lee, who placed his headband on his head, to signal Tenten that he can see the mirror too. Hinata and Niji used their Byakugan to see through the people in front of them, and saw their answers as clear as day. Sasuke uses his Sharingan to imitate the movements of the pen, of the person in front of him. Gaara uses his San to form the third eye, and sends it out to find the answers for him. Kankuro excuses himself and decided to go to the bathroom, for some reason, with a sentinel escorting him. But oddly enough, the sentinel hardly looked human. Yugito closes her eyes for a moment, and her onyx pupils suddenly transformed into different colors. Her right eye turned yellow, and the left was now green, both with slit pupils. They gave her enhanced vision, as she was able to see the answers of the candidate in front of her, like a zooming camera. /N, I am fully aware that cats are colorblind and nearsighted, but since Matatabi is not a real cat, she doesn't have that flaw. Instead, it is the opposite. Fu was able to hack one of Shino's bugs somehow, and commanded it to help her instead. Seeing Choji still struggling with the questions, Shikamaru uses his shadow possession jutsu to help his chubby friend, by taking control of his shadow, and writing down his answers for him. Choji was caught off guard at first, but realized that Shikamaru was helping him. He eases his muscles and let Shikamaru take control of his movements. Temari, who was sitting next to Shikamaru, noticed his sudden action to help the Akimichi. She could only look at the Nara with curiosity in her teal eyes. Why would he help someone that is not his teammate? It just doesn't make sense to her. As time flies, it was now 15 minutes left for the written test. Alright, listen up. Here is the 10th and final question. Ibiki announced. This immediately sends another deep chill down everyone's spine. Some were eager to listen, while the rest were still shaking from their nerves. Temari was wondering what is taking Kankuro so long in the bathroom. If he misses it, he will definitely fail. But before I give you the question, there are some rules that you need to be aware of. As Ibiki said this, Kankuro finally returned from the bathroom, getting everyone's attention. Ah, you made it just in time. I hope you found your trip to the bathroom enlightening, miss. Ibiki said sarcastically with a smirk, which caused several candidates and sentinels to chuckle. I'm a boy, sir, Kankuro corrected calmly, with an annoyed tick mark on his head. Boys don't wear makeup and catsuits. Unless they are confused. Just take your seat, princess. You're wasting my time, Ibiki scolded, which made some sentinels trying to hold back their laughter. Kankuro was embarrassed beyond belief, as he made his way to his seat. He then dropped something on Temari's desk, as he passes by, but seeing her giggling face, immediately made his blood boil. It's not makeup, it's war paint. Ibiki then stepped forward, and had a serious look on his face. As I was saying, these rules are unique to question 10. Listen carefully and try not to let them frighten you. Rule number 1, each of you is free to choose not to be given the final question. It's your decision, Ibiki said calmly. This made everyone confused. Why would they choose not to answer it? Whoa! So what's the catch? Let's say we decided we don't want to do it. What happens then? Temari yelled out. If you choose not to take the 10th question, regardless of your answers to the other 9, you'll get a 0. In other words, you fail. And that means, of course, both your teammates fail as well. Ibiki said with a smirk. Everyone was now panicking and whispering loudly among themselves. Not so fast. Ibiki interrupted them, you didn't let me finish. If you accept the question, but answer it incorrectly, you will not only fail. Ibiki took a long pause before saying, you will be barred from taking the Chunin exam ever again. Ibiki announced. This immediately caused another wave of outrage from the candidates. Hey, that's bullshit, man. That's ridiculous. What kind of bogus rule is that? Kiba yelled out. Yeah. There's lots of people here who've taken the test before. Sakura added. This just made Ibiki laugh in amusement. I guess you're just unlucky. I wasn't making the rules before, but I am now. Of course, if you don't want to take it, you don't have to. If you're not feeling confident, then by all means, skip it. You can come back and try again, next year. Ibiki said, as he laughs maniacally. As everyone was still panicking, Team 10 was having a telepathic conversation among themselves. Okay, I'll admit, I can see what Idate was talking about. His big brother really knows how to mindfuck someone in a Chunin exam, Naruto said in the mind link. Agreed, Ino and Shikamaru said in their thoughts. Then they turned their attention back to Ibiki. Now then, if you're ready. The 10th and final question. Those who don't want to take it, raise your hand. Your number will be recorded, and then you're free to go. Ibiki said. It was now a moment of pure silence. Everyone was having their own inner turmoil. Deciding whether to risk it all or not. Guys, don't raise your hand. Ino said, gaining the full attention of her teammates, this might be a stretch, but I think, this could be another hidden test, Ino informed them. What do you mean, Ino-chan? Naruto asked. I mean, the choice to not take it, is a trap. Think about it, we're dealing with Ibiki Marino here, one the best torture and interrogation specialist in Konoha. My dad told me a lot about him and his mind-breaking techniques. The true purpose of the first 9 questions was obviously to test our ability to gather information without being caught. It has nothing to do with our academic knowledge. So what if he is actually testing our resolve as a ninja? Ino pointed out. You might be on to something, Ino-chan. This is after all, the Chunin exam, where anything is possible. Maybe the 10th question is to see if we take the question or not. And the correct answer is us staying, to risk it all, rather than quit without trying. Naruto pointed out. So you two are saying, in order for us to pass, we just have to stay? Shikamaru summarized. Pretty much, yeah. Naruto concluded. So all we have to do now is just sit back and relax. Ino said cheerfully. Right. I guess we could use this time to calm our nerves, right Shika? Naruto asked with a sigh of relief. Shika? Ino asked, wondering why the Nara was suddenly quiet. Naruto then noticed Shikamaru is fast asleep on his desk. And he's asleep. I mean seriously, how does he do that? Naruto asked with a sweat drop, still wondering how Shikamaru can fall asleep so easily. Ino simply smirked at the question. Well, I know I can't sleep without my favorite whiskered pillow. Ino said with a teasing tone. Oh, behave, milady. Because I think that pillow wants to sleep with you too. Very, very much. Naruto teased back, which made Ino blush slightly. I wonder if it's okay if I hugged that pillow a little too tight. So tight that I might end up breaking him, it. Ino teased back. You can hug it as tight as you. Guys, can you please cut me out of the link before I barf? Shikamaru said tiredly. Sorry, Shika. Naruto and Ino said in unison. After a brief minute of complete silence, a Konoha candidate, who was the first to crack under the pressure, raised his hand in shame. He and his team were then dismissed from the class, leaving them to dwell in their self-pity. That was the start of a domino effect, as many more candidates raised their hands to quit as well. Ibiki was smirking with satisfaction. Those who left truly did not deserve to become Chunin. But there were still plenty more candidates remaining, still trying to decide to risk it all or not. He then turns his attention to Naruto, and saw that he was as cool as a cucumber. Not an ounce of doubt in his eyes. Ibiki suspects that Naruto already knew the true purpose of the test. But he wanted to test his resolve even further. You think you can answer the 10th question, Senju? Do you really think you have what it takes? Ibiki challenged Naruto, making everyone turning their attention to him. It was another brief moment of silence, as everyone anxiously waited for his answer. Then Naruto spoke. It doesn't matter if I have what it takes, Ibiki-san. I don't quit, and I don't back down. To become Chunin, I am willing to risk it all, for the sake of myself and my team. Surrender is not in my nature, so you can stop trying to scare me. I don't care if I remain a genin for the rest of my life. Hell, I don't mind becoming known as the world's strongest genin. Because as long as I can still achieve my goal, my future is clear, Naruto said, making everyone look at him wide eyes. This decision is one that could change your life, Senju. If for any reason you would rather quit, now is your last chance, Ibiki informed. I'm not going to repeat myself, Ibiki-san. I never go back on my word. That's the way of the shinobi, Naruto said with conviction in his voice. Everyone, even the sentinels, was now staring at him with admiration in their eyes. Even Gaara's once hateful gaze was now turning into a look of curiosity. Fu simply wanted to jump out of her seat and hug Naruto for being such a cool friend. Yugito as well, but not to hug him, if you know that I mean. Karen was full of doubt like everyone else at first, but Naruto managed to inspire her to stay, but not for the sake of her teammates, but for herself and her dream to find other Uzumakis like her. The root genins, however, looked at Naruto like he was a bigger threat. Tanuki was disgusted by his Senju will of fire, while Sai and Yakumo were as passive as a corpse. Ibiki did not intend for this to happen, but apparently Naruto's words managed to inspire everyone else to stay. He should have known better, to test the apprentice of the third Hokage. But then again, he wanted to see if his little brother's friend is as worthy as everyone claims him to be. There are now around 78 candidates left. Much more than he expected. Well then, I admire your determination, if nothing else. For those of you remaining, there's only one thing left to do. And that's for me to tell you, Ibiki announced, as everyone intensely waited for his answer, that you've all passed the first exam. Ibiki announced, with a smirk. Everyone was in pure shock, except for Team 10 who were smirking. Hold on. What just happened? What do you mean we passed? Where's the 10th question? Sakura yelled out. Ibiki simply laughed at this. There never was one. Not a written one, at least. Actually, your decision to stay was the answer to the 10th question, Ibiki said with a grin. Ha! Sakura said confusingly. Wait a second. So the other 9 questions you gave us were just a waste of time, is that what you're saying? Temari yelled out. Geez, she's almost as loud as Ino, Shikamaru thought, as he was now awakened by blonde girl's loud cries, next to him. No, not at all. Quite the opposite. The first 9 questions had an important overriding purpose, to test your ability to surreptitiously gather strategic intelligence, under the most adverse circumstances. Ibiki pointed out. Oh, well, that clears up everything. Temari said, understanding the explanation. She then turns her attention to the sleepy boy next to her. How could you be asleep at a time like this? Temari whispered to Shikamaru, slightly annoyed. What? I already knew the answer was to stay. So might as well take a little nap. Shikamaru responded lazily. Yeah right, like you figured it out. Temari scoffed, as she turns her attention back to Ibiki. Troublesome blonde. Shikamaru mumbled under his breath. What was that? Temari asked dangerously, with a raised eyebrow. Instead of responding, Shikamaru did the smartest thing he can do, he went back to sleep. Ibiki then went to explain the true purpose of the 10th question in detail. It was to test them not just as individuals, but as a team, and how well they could function as part of that team. That was why the test was scored on a team basis, so they would know that everything they did, or failed to do, would directly affect their teammates. He wanted to see how they would handle the pressure. He then confirmed that they had to cheat, in order to pass, and that he even subtly encouraged them to from the start. He even revealed 2 undercover chunins who already knew the answers, that were sitting among them. Ibiki then removed his bandana, revealing the scars, puncture wounds, and burn marks on his head. Indicating it as an example of how important information is, and the consequences of inaccurate information. Which could also lead to the death of comrades or the loss of a village. In the end, he summarized that those who stayed, made the right choice. Because as Chunin, one could always face an extremely high-risk and possibly suicidal mission, with no intel and backup whatsoever. And this particular mission could end with their deaths, or the deaths of their comrades. It was literally a do-or-die situation. But that doesn't mean they can just quit like it was an option, and try again later. That's not how it works. Because as shinobi, they must fulfill their duty and complete the mission. That is the role of a Chunin squad leader. I hereby declare this part of the Chunin selection exam completed. There's nothing left but to wish you all good luck, Ibiki said with a proud smile. Suddenly, something broke through the glass window. It looked like a black ball at first, until a young woman appeared out of it, and threw 2 kunais on the ceiling, revealing a large banner behind her. The banner was titled, The Proctor of the Second Test, the Super Sexy, Anko Mitarashi. Heads up boys and girls. This is no time to be celebrating. I'll be your next proctor, Anko Mitarashi. Are you ready for the second test? Good. Then let's go. Follow me. Anko said enthusiastically, as she pumped her fist in the air. Everyone's eyes were widened at the sudden appearance of the special Jonin. Everyone except Naruto, of course, who was able to sense that she was coming. The boys in the room, however, were blushing heavily at the mere sight of the sexy and busted purple-haired girl, which did not go unnoticed by Naruto. "Simps," Naruto whispered under his breath. Ibiki, who was standing behind the large banner, sneaked his head out on the side, and glared a deadpan look at the snake mistress. "You're early again," Ibiki said. Anko blushed embarrassingly at her untimely appearance, as her fist was still in the air. "Great. A screaming nutcase. She reminds me of Kiba," Sakura thought. "Got him. She's a total babe," Kiba thought, with hearts in his eyes, and a drool in his mouth. "You know, on some level, Anko kinda reminds me of Naruto-kun," Ino thought. Anko looked around the classroom, and was surprised that there are still so many candidates left. "How many are there?" Anko turned to Ibiki. "Ibiki, you seriously let all these guys pass? Your test was too easy. You must be getting soft," Anko said with a smirk. "You can blame that on your Hokage. Or it could be a stronger crop of candidates this year," Ibiki stated. "My Gaki? You mean?" Anko then turned her head, and saw her favorite blonde, who was giving her a bright smile. She then shunshin in front of his desk, and grabbed his head with both her hands, and pulled his face towards her chest, smothering him between her voluptuous breasts. "Jikai. I see you passed. You made your Anko-nichan so proud, and so much money, teehee," Anko says happily as she continues to smother Naruto. "And quo, I quant breath," Naruto said out of breath, as his face was turning vermilion red, and only managed to mumble his words between her breasts. "Yeah, that's what Kashi-kun said too," Anko said with a proud grin. Everyone was shocked. All the male candidates' nose was hosing down blood, while the females were gasping with shock. Ino's hair was now literally combusting in flames, as she glares angrily at the snake mistress. Sakura was practically choking under her breath. Tenten and Yugito were glaring at Anko with pure jealousy, wishing that they could be in her place instead. Hinata, Karen, and Fu were blushing their cheeks red. Kiba's face showed nothing but complete defeat. Naruto is literally a man god, and hot women will always be drawn to him like a magnet. He just needs to accept that as his norm now. The strange older Kusa Kunoichi, however, was simply licking her lips with her unusual large tongue, as her dark eyes were saying, she had just found a brand new prey to hunt. Anko then releases Naruto from her juicy milk makers, and was giggling when she saw the blonde's extremely red face. She then walked back to the front of the class with a shameless smirk. She then turns to Ibiki. "Well, my money is still on my Gaki and his team, but the rest? Meh. They sure don't look like it. Trust me, before I'm done with them, more than half will be eliminated," Anko said with a sadistic smirk. "Ha! More than half? Really?" Sakura asked fearfully. Hi, this is going to be fun," Anko said with the smirk never leaving her face. "Alright, you maggots have it easy so far, but things are going to be different starting first thing in the morning. I'll let your squad leaders know where you're to meet me." "Dismissed," Anko announced. And just like that, everyone left the classroom, heading home to rest and possibly celebrating their passing of the first test. Once the classroom is completely emptied, Ibiki went to collect the candidates' papers, until he came across Naruto's. He smirked when he saw that the blonde Senju is one of the few to get a perfect score. But what caught his curiosity, however, was the hidden note written on the back of the paper that was intended for him. Ibiki then read the note, but his eyes immediately narrowed when he was done. "Dear Ibiki-san, I just want to inform you that the candidate Kabuto Yakushi is a person of great interest. I strongly believe that he is an enemy spy. He somehow managed to attain very detailed and incredibly sensitive information on the other candidates, both foreign and domestic, including myself. Whom he is spying for, I do not know yet. But that fact that a mere genin can gather this level of info is quite suspicious. Please take this information directly to the Hokage. P.S. Tell him that our mutual furry friend says that there is another candidate here, from Kusa, whose chakra level is almost as large as a Jinchuriki, but isn't. And it was darker. Very darker. Almost inhuman. Thought he should know. Naruto Senju. Ibiki grasped the paper tightly, and immediately shunshin to the Hiruzen's office. The next day, Training Ground 44. All the genin candidates were now staring at the massive forest behind Enko. The mere sight of the large trees, the rusted fences, and the growing shadows was enough to intimidate the bravest of souls. All except Naruto and his fellow Jinchurikis, of course. What is this place? Hinata asked. This, little Hyuga, is the location for the second phase of the exam. It's the 44th Battle Training Zone. But we call it the Forest of Death. Enko said with a sadistic grin. 2 hours ago, Hokage's office. Naruto went to see Hiruzen a few hours before the second test was about to start. He wanted to discuss with the old Kage regarding the note he gave to Ibiki yesterday regarding a certain silver-haired boy. Ibiki told me about your message, Naruto-kun. I find it quite troubling. Hiruzen said. Sarutobi-sensei, I've known you all my life. You never once lied to me, ever since you told me the truth about who I am. I've always trusted you, so I'm going to give you the benefit of the doubt. But how could you, the fuck-freaking Hokage, not know that a boy with Nono Yakushi's name has been in your village for 4 years? Naruto asked, slightly angry. I honestly don't know what to tell you, Naruto-kun. I have personally registered every single Konoha shinobi and kunoichi for the past 14 years, ever since I retook the position of Hokage. And even in my old age, I can still remember every single name. But I never registered a Kabuto Yakushi before. Hiruzen said honestly. Naruto was still angry, but he knew his Jiji would never intentionally keep something like this from him. So he decided to trust in his surrogate grandfather, like he always does. Sigh, okay, I believe you, Jiji. It's just, if he is here for that long, there's a chance that Mother Nono is, that she's. Naruto couldn't bring himself to finish that sentence. I know, Naruto-kun, I'm so sorry. Naruto was clearly upset, knowing that his surrogate mother is likely dead, but he knew he needed to focus on the task at hand. Is there anyone else that has the power to register shinobis in the village, besides you? Naruto asked with a serious tone. Aside from me, only the elders. But why would they? Hiruzen's eyes widened, as does Naruto's, as they came to the same conclusion. Danzo, Hiruzen and Naruto said in unison, with venom in their voices. That goddamn warhawk. But the real question is why though? Do you think Kabuto is in league with Root? Hiruzen asked his apprentice. Maybe. There's a high chance he could be a spy for Root, but my gut is telling me something else. Danzo and his agents always work in the shadows, but Kabuto was showing off like a damn peacock when I first met him. I don't know why he wanted to help us by revealing very confidential info, but I have a feeling he was trying to win someone over. Naruto summarized. I assume he wanted to play on your naivety to gain your trust, since you are all rookies. You told me his chakra reserves is around high Jonin level, and that he knows medical ninjutsu. That's a really rare skill to have nowadays. And with how he was able to acquire extensive info from every single candidate in the exam, including you, shows that he is a very capable spy. As for this mysterious Kusa Kunoichi you speak of, her name is Shiror. Not much I can tell you about her, except a couple D ranks and C ranks in her record. She's practically an ordinary genin, if you ask me. But I trust your abilities to identity threats, Naruto-kun. But given that Shiror is a Chunin exam candidate from Kusa, we can't really do anything about her, unless she broke our laws within the village. But I can bring Kabuto in for questioning. Hiruzen suggested. No. If we capture him now, whoever he works for, will be alerted to our awareness. And whatever they're planning, will just become bad to worst. We need to preserve the illusion that he is still in control, and find out what he's up to, so we can come up with a counter-strategy. Naruto said. I see your friendship with young Shikamaru has made you sharper, Naruto-kun. I'm impressed. I hope you have a plan, my boy. Hiruzen said. I've already placed my Hiration seal on Kabuto. Wherever he goes, I can follow. I'll keep my distance and find out what he's up to in the second test. Have your Anda stationed around the perimeter, in case anything happens. I'll notify Enko-nichan later, after she makes her announcement. I don't want to give Kabuto a reason to be suspicious if she suddenly acts differently around him. Naruto practically ordered the old Kage. Hiruzen couldn't help but feel nostalgic, as he felt he was being ordered by Minato. Very well, Naruto-kun. I hope you will find what we are looking for. Otherwise, we will never know what we're truly up against. Hiruzen stood up from his chair, as he looked out the window. This exam might be the start of something terrible. I just hope we can stop it, in time. Hiruzen said. Don't worry, Gigi. We will. I promise, Naruto said with a bright smile, as he shunshin out the office. Present time, Training Ground 44. Everyone was still staring at the giant terrifying-looking forest behind Enko, as they felt a cold chill crawling up their spines. The intense silence was not helping either, as they could only hear the sounds of the wind blowing against the trees. This whole place is completely freaking me out, Sakura admitted. Hi, it should, Pinky. They call it the Forest of Death. And soon enough, you're gonna find out why, Enko said with a smirk. Naruto noticed the fear in his friend's eyes, so decided to help lift her spirit. Don't worry, Sakura-chan. I'm sure it's not as bad as it looks, Naruto said with his bright smile, which instantly made the pinkette blushed as red as her outfit. Naruto was actually lying through his teeth, since he remembered Enko once brought him and Kakashi to the forest, to have some quality family time. It was the most horrifying family picnic he and Kakashi ever had. Enko heard what Naruto said to Sakura, and decided to tease him a little. Is that so, Gaki? Enko said. She then pulled out a kunai from her sleeve, and threw it towards Naruto's direction. Naruto sensed the incoming projectile, so he subtly channeled ice chakra to his index and middle finger, covering them in crystallized ice, as he literally slices the incoming kunai in half, with an effortless swipe of his hand. And he wasn't even looking. Everyone was genuinely surprised. Not only that the proctor threw a kunai at a candidate's head, but said candidate managed to cut the kunai in half with just his fingers. They didn't even notice that his fingers were crystallized, as they were immediately melted into water after. Enko then shunshins behind Naruto, as she presses her glorious breasts against his back, while holding his head close to hers, so she could whisper into his ear. The boys were once again glaring with jealousy, while the girls were simply annoyed, and felt slight insecure regarding their own figure, compared to the busty proctor. That was rude, Gaki. And that was my favorite kunai. You didn't even let your Nei-chan have her fun with the fresh meat. Bad little Gaki. You're lucky I love you, because otherwise I would break you, for this. Enko whispered with a smirk. Oh, I'm sure you'll still have your fun, Enko-nichan. Naruto whispered back with his own smirk. Suddenly, Naruto and Enko felt someone appearing behind them, as they both pull out their kunais and pointed them towards the would-be attacker. Naruto narrowed his eyes, when he saw who it was. It was that strange Kusa Kunoichi, Shiror, as she held the two halves of Enko's broken kunai, with her tongue. I was just returning your knife, Shiror said, with her unsettling voice, and her unusually long tongue still sticking out. Why thank you, Kusa ninja. Like I told my Gaki here, it's my favorite kunai. Anko said with a friendly tone. Shiror had a very dark and disturbing look in her eyes, as Anko stares right back at them, without even blinking, and simply smirked at her. You know, I really only recommend you stand this close behind me, if you wish to reach a premature end, Anko warned, as she took back the broken kunai from Shior's tongue. Shiror then retracts her tongue back into her mouth, and smiled creepily. My pardon. It's in my nature to act up at the sign of possible bloodshed. I guess I got a little excited. I meant you no harm, Proctor Mitarashi, Shiror simply said with her unsettling voice, as she walked back to her teammates. Likewise, Anko said with narrowed eyes. I thought this forest was creepy, but that kunoichi is even creepier. I can see why Naruto-kun warns us about her. She's definitely someone to look out for. Ino thought, as she narrowed her eyes at Shiror. That girl, if I didn't know any better, she kinda reminds me of, nah, that's not possible, Anko thought, as she dismisses the idea from her mind. Ordinary genin, my ass, GG. Naruto thought. Evidently, we've got a lot of hot-blooded kids this time. Must be something in the air, this is gonna be fun. Anko said with a smirk. Hot-blooded? Well, that's the pot calling the kettle black, Naruto retorted with a smirk. Gasp, you take that back, Gaki. I'm not hot-blooded, I'm super hot-blooded. Anko said proudly, and made a dramatic pose in the end. Whatever you say, Nei-chan, Naruto said, as he rolled his eyes. Anko then went back to the front to address the candidates. Now before we begin this test, I have something to hand out to you all. Anko said, as she pulled out a stack of paper from her trench coat, just a standard consent form. Before the test, all of you will have to read over this form, and then sign it, Anko informed. What for? Kiba asked. Some of you may not come back from this test, and I have to get your consent to that risk. Otherwise it will be my responsibility, he, Anko said with a carefree tone. This obviously creeps everyone out even more, now knowing the full risk of the second test. Now, I'll explain what you will be doing on this test. She then turns to Naruto, here, pass these on. She handed him the consent forms. As he passes them to the other candidates, the first thing you need to know, that this test will tax every one of you, of your survival skills, Anko announced. Survival? What a drag. Shikamaru thought as he yawns. First, I'll give you all a description of the terrain of the practice field. Anko shows a map of the forest. The 44th Battle Training Zone has 44 locked entrance gates. There are rivers and giant forests inside. And at the center is a locked tower, located 10 kilometers from each gate. It is in this confined area that you will undergo the survival test. And the test consists of... Anko rolled up the map and placed it back in her trench coat. An anything goes, scroll battle. Anko said, as he held out 2 scrolls in her hand, one with a kanji for heaven and the other for earth. Scrolls? Some random candidate asked. Yes. You will be fighting to get both a heaven and an earth scroll. Altogether, 26 teams will be taking place in this test. So half of them will go after a heaven scroll, while the other half will go after the earth scroll. I'll hand over one kind of scroll to each team, and that's what you'll be vying for. Anko notified. Okay, so how do we pass the test? Sasuke asked. Your entire squad must bring both a heaven and earth scroll to the tower, Anko said. That means, at the very best, half of us will fail. More, if not every team is able to get both the scrolls. Yugito, summarize. No one ever said that it will be easy. Oh, and one more thing, the test has a time limit. You must finish it within 5 days, Anko informed with a smirk. 5 days out there? Karui yelled out in disbelief. What are we supposed to do for food? Choji interjected, with a horrified look on his face. Just look around. The forest is full of things to eat. There's plenty to feed all of you. Anko informed. Yeah, but that's not all the forest is plenty of. There are man-eating beast and poisonous plants in there, Kabuto added while adjusting his glasses. Not to mention the 78 angry and hungry genins running around the forest, looking for scrolls, Naruto interjected, that caused several genins to chuckle. "Oh man," Choji cried. "Maybe that is why they call it survival," Choji-kun, Hinata said. "That means, with these circumstances, there's no way half the teams will pass the test," Niji pointed out. "With the days getting longer, the nights getting shorter, so we will have less time to sleep and less time to recover. It is a challenge indeed," Rock Lee said with a nice guy pose, as his teeth sparkle. "Completely surrounded by enemies. There won't be any time to rest, since we have to keep a constant watch," Sasuke pointed out. "You guys are a bunch of brooding broods. I don't see enemies. I only see friends I haven't met yet," Fu said with an innocent smile. "Well, sweetheart, I doubt friends would try to kill you if you give them a chance. So I advise otherwise. This test also measures your endurance behind enemy lines. This is designed to be a grueling test. And I'm sure some of you won't be up to the challenge," Anko said. Shikamaru then raised his hand. "So, let's just say mid-exam, can we quit?" Shikamaru asked. "Shika!" Naruto and Ino yelled out. "Of course not, dingus, in the middle of a battle, you can't just say, 'Sorry, I quit.' Well, I guess you could, but it's probably gonna get you killed," Anko said with a smirk. "Oh, just great. This is going to be a drag," Shikamaru said, as he yawns. Temari is practically glaring daggers at him for his laziness. "There are also some ways that you can get disqualified. The first is simple: if all 3 members of the team can't make it to the tower with both scrolls in 5 days. Number 2, if a team loses a member, or a member becomes incapacitated and cannot continue. But most importantly, none of you, absolutely none of you, may look at the contents of the scrolls until you reach the tower," Anko said. "Can you tell us what happens if we intentionally or unintentionally look at the contents?" Karen asked. "Let me put it this way, young lady, you don't want to know," Anko said with a grin. "Well, that's enlightening," Karen thought sarcastically. "There are times when a ninja will be asked to carry secret documents. The scroll rule is to test your integrity. Okay, we're done. Each team take your consent forms and exchange them over there, for your scrolls." Anko pointed to the registering booth, where 3 Konoha chunins are sitting. "After that, each team will pick a gate, and you'll be let inside," Anko said. Everyone was trying to wrap their heads around all the many rules of the test. But unfortunately, Anko wasn't done yet. "Sigh, oh, and I have one more word of advice: go near my gaki, and you die," Anko yelled out. Everyone was surprised at this, as they all know who she was referring to. Even said Gaki himself, aka Naruto, was surprised. While he appreciates his surrogate big sister for caring so much about him, he felt that wasn't really necessary. Plus, he didn't like the attention he was now getting from the other candidates. "Hey! Isn't that favoritism or something?" a random genin yelled out. He, "Oh, far from it, young man. That was actually just a simple warning of danger. Because if you decide to go after him, he will kill you, not me," Anko said with a grin. Naruto now realized that Anko wasn't trying to be the overprotective sister as usual. Instead, she was just trying to get the candidates to think twice before making an enemy out of him. Which he appreciates, since now the candidates are now looking at him with careful and fearful eyes. Some of the candidates thinks that Anko is just bluffing, but fortunately, most of them remembered how Naruto was able to choke out an entire classroom of genins with just his killing intent. They also remembered when Kabuto revealed that Naruto is the apprentice of the 3rd Hokage, and that he is a great hero of 2 countries. Plus, the fact that he belongs to the legendary Senju clan was enough to fill their hearts with fear and uneasiness. As everyone finally dispersed from the gathering, to talk among their teammates and sign their consent forms. Naruto, Ino and Shikamaru went to sit by a tree, and read their consent forms very carefully, in case they missed anything. Shikamaru was laying down on the ground, half asleep, while Naruto was resting his head on Ino's lap, as she plays with his blonde hair. "How could you ask if we can quit mid-exam, Shika?" Ino asked her lazy teammate and friend. "A question is a question. Big deal. Besides, it doesn't matter. Since you two won't let me quit, even if we could," Shikamaru said, as he signs his consent form. "Damn straight, Shika. We can't turn back now. Also, your mum gave me permission to kick your ass, if you do," Naruto said with a grin. "Troublesome," Shikamaru said. As Naruto and Ino had finished signing their consent forms, Ino notices that Naruto was deep in thought. "Whiskers?" Ino asked. "Yeah," Naruto responded. "You okay? You seem a little distracted." Ino asked. "Yeah, it's just..." Naruto started, but stopped midway. "Is it about your meeting with Lord Third earlier?" Ino finished for him. "Sigh, unfortunately, we learned something that is 100% troublesome. I can't tell you all the details yet, but I can tell you what I need to do during the test, aside from finding the scrolls." Naruto said. "What is it?" Ino asked. "I'll tell you in 3, 2, 1. Hey guys, Anko appeared on the tree branch above them, with a goofy grin. "Anko?" Ino and Shikamaru said in unison, when they saw the snake mistress. "What are you doing here?" Ino asked curiously. "Well, during my little fun with the gaki, he slipped a piece of note in my hand, telling me to meet you guys later." "So what's up, Naruto?" Anko asked, as she jumps down, and sat next to Naruto. "We shouldn't talk about this out loud. Ino-chan, would you be so kind?" Naruto asked. Ino nodded, and created a mind link for all four of them. "Everyone online?" Ino asked. "Yup," Naruto said. "Yeah," Shikamaru said. "So, I just talk in my mind, and you all can hear me?" Anko asked. "Yup. That's how the mind transmission jutsu works." Ino confirmed. "Wow, talk about mind fucked, am I right? I wonder if I can do an echo in here." Anko asked herself, with a mischievous smirk. "Oh no, please don't." Ino didn't get to finish. "Be gently." Anko yelled out, but there was no echo whatsoever. Team 10 looked at her, like they just had a major migraine. "It doesn't echo in here, Anko." Ino pointed out in annoyance. "Be gentle?" Naruto asked, with a raised eyebrow. "It's my safe word." "Mama likes it rough," Anko said proudly, with a smirk. "Can we please stay on topic?" "Naruto, what is it you need to talk about?" Shikamaru asked. "Yeah, Gaki, hurry up, I need to get back to work," Anko said. Naruto then explained to them about his recent meeting with Hiruzen, and his side mission to spy on Kabuto Yakushi. He also informed them about his suspicion on Shiror, and the fact that Hiruzen's Anbis will soon be securing the area, once the exam starts. "So you're saying, glasses-wearing creep and long-tongue weirdo are major suspects of espionage against Konoha?" Anko asked to clarify. "Yes, and my senses are practically screaming at me, warning me of danger, every time I get near one of them," Naruto said. Kashikuin did mention that you can sense the presence of hostility somehow, and Lord Third even confirms this. "So I guess I just have to trust your hunch. What do you need me to do?" Anko asked. "For now, act natural. Be on alert for anything," Naruto said. "You got it. So are we done here? Because I miss talking out loud. It's one of my best qualities," Anko said with a grin. "I hope so, I rather not use most of my chakra before the exam even starts," Ino added. "Yeah, we're done here," Naruto said. Ino immediately deactivates the mind link, and was slightly panting from using a good portion of her chakra. Naruto notices this, and raises his hand, as it starts to radiate gold-colored chakra. He then gently places it on top of Ino's head. She instantly felt incredibly relaxed by his touch, as she could feel his powerful chakra flowing through her body. She could also feel her strength was returning, and more. But apparently there is an unforeseen side effect. Ino felt more relaxed, and she was starting to feel good, really, really good. So good, that her body was getting hot and couldn't stop trembling, and eventually she couldn't help but let out a sweet moan of pleasure. When she realized what she had done, she was blushing from embarrassment, as Naruto and Shikamaru were staring at her with confusion, while Anko was laughing her ass off. "Oh my god. Did you just have an orgasm from him touching your head? That is fucking priceless." Ha 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 ha, Anko continues to laugh her ass off. Ino was blushing vermilion red at this point, but she could still feel the arousing effects on her body, even after Naruto had pulled his hand away. "Naruto-kun, what the fuck was that?" Ino asked, with gritted teeth. "Aha, I was transferring some of my chakra into you. It's a new trick I learned. I didn't realize." Naruto noticed Ino was approaching him with an intense look in her eyes. "Please don't be mad, Ino-chan, I didn't mean to." Naruto didn't get to finish his sentence, as Ino slammed her lips into his, locking them together in an intense and passionate kiss. She then jumped and sat on his lap, as she grinds her body up and down onto his, like a rabbit in heat. Naruto was surprised at this, but he instantly melted into the kiss, and returned her passion with his, as twice as much. Their tongues intertwining as Ino jammed hers down his throat. Naruto could feel his member was getting harder and harder with every grinding of her fit body. His hands grasping her slim waist, as one of his hand boldly traveled down her hips and firmly grabbing her ass cheek, causing her to moan more into the kiss. Anko immediately stopped her laughter, to gaze upon the extremely hot public display of affection before her. She had the biggest grin on her face, and she couldn't help but giggle like a mad pervert. Shikamaru was barfing in a nearby bush. Ino finally managed to collect herself, and pull away from the passionate kiss, and was gasping for air, as a string of saliva was connecting their lips. "Naruto-kun, I don't know what you did to me, but that was the greatest feeling I have ever felt in my entire life. And when I saw you, I knew I must have you. Or else, I was about to burst into flames. I felt like my entire body was on fire, and I'm so sorry, Naruto-kun." Ino was cut off by Naruto, as he embraced her in a loving hug. "If anyone should apologize, it's me. I didn't realize my chakra had this effect on you. Will you be okay?" Naruto asked with concern in his voice. "Yeah, my chakra is fully restored, but I'm still kinda." Ino was blushing red, as she couldn't finish her sentence. "Erotically charged?" Naruto finished for her. "Yeah," Ino admitted. "Ha ha ha, it's okay, I'm sure it's only temporary," Naruto said, as he hugged her again, which somehow calmed her urges with his gentle embrace, as she hugged him back, while burying her face in his chest. But unfortunately, the tender moment between the blonde couple was ruined by Anko. "That was awesome. Do me next, Gaki. And point me to where Kashi-kun is," Anko said excitedly. Note to self, try not to transfer your chakra to a girl who likes you, except Ino-chan, Naruto thought with a sigh. A few moments later, a Chunin representative at the registering booth announced that they are ready to hand out their scrolls. Team 10 and everyone else who was sitting, was now back on their feet, as one by one, each team went through the tent to receive their scroll. As Team 10 handed over their consent forms, they were given a heaven scroll. They decided that Naruto should hold on to it, since he is strongest among the three. And being as clever as he is, Naruto safely sealed their heaven scroll into his wrist seal, for safekeeping. Listen up. All the teams have now received their scrolls. So everybody, go to your gate, and wait there. When the gates open, the test is on, Anko announced. Gate 16, Team 8. Yahoo! We rock at survival, there's no way we can lose. Kiba said excitedly, as he turns his attention to Sakura. Sakura, remember what I said yesterday. If we stick together, everything will be okay. You come a long way from the academy, my pink-headed friend. And it's time you show these guys what you're made of. Kiba said with a grin, to increase her confidence, which seems to work. Haha, thanks Kiba. I hope so too, Sakura said with a smile. Let's just hope the first enemy we encounter has the scroll we need. Why do you ask? It is because we can't afford to waste time and energy on a needless battle, Shino said with his logic. You said it, pal, Kiba agreed. Yip, Akamaru agreed as well. Gate 12, Team 7. Alright guys, remember what Kakashi-sensei said. We fight smart and we fight together. But most importantly, we stay alive. We need to Choji. Are paying attention. Sasuke yelled out to his chubby teammate, who is busy searching through his back pouch. What? I'm checking for supplies. Potato chips, check. Rice balls, check. Strawberry layer cake, good, Choji said excitedly, as he searches through his back pouch. Choji, did you seriously brought a strawberry layer cake in this survival test? Sasuke asked with a deadpan look, which made Hinata cutely giggle at her crush's frustrated face. Teehee, leave him be, Sasuke-kun. I'm sure that cake just makes him happy. Hinata said with a gentle smile. You're too soft on him, Hinata. That cake could attract wild animals to us, Sasuke pointed out. Don't worry, Sasuke-kun. I'll keep you safe from the terrifying animals, Hinata actually teased the Uchiha, which made him blush from embarrassment. That's not funny, Hinata, Sasuke said with a pout. Gate 27, Team 10. I wonder if we might encounter the other Jinchurikis in the forest. Naruto wonders. I hope not. Gaara is clearly a homicidal maniac, Fu is obviously a wolf in sheep's clothing, and Yugito, okay, if I see her, I'm kicking that pussycat's ass. Ino said with a burning determination in her eyes. I actually advise against that, but you do you, milady, Naruto said, as he kisses her cheek, causing her to blush slightly. I just hope I don't run into that Suna fangirl. She clearly wants to kick my ass for calling her troublesome, Shikamaru thought. Gate 20, Team Oto. The time has come to carry out our orders in the open, Dosu said, as he and his teammates shared a smirk. Gate 38, Team Kabuto. I just hope I don't run into that Naruto kid. Clearly, he's the only one who doesn't trust me. But weirdly enough, his mannerism and the way he talks is strangely familiar. Kabuto thought to himself. Gate 6, Team Suna. Not only do I have to deal with the punks on the other teams, but I'll be with Gaara. And he might try to kill me, Kankuro thought. Maybe we should go after that Senju boy. Gaara clearly wants to fight him, and I definitely want to kick that yawning jerk's ass for calling me troublesome, Temari thought. That silly girl's blood is mine, Gaara thought with narrowed eyes. Gate 15, Team Kusa. Kukukuku, I will find you, my prey. Nothing will help you escape from your predator. But I am curious about the other one. Maybe I'll try marking them both. Kukukukuku, Shiro thought sinisterly. Gate 41, Team 9. Guy Sensei. I will make you proud. Just watch. Soon everyone will know the name, Rock Lee. Lee thought, with a burning determination in his eyes. Peach, you better hope I don't find you, Hinata-sama. I won't hesitate to end you, and your Uchiha dog, Niji thought smugly. I just hope Naruto will be okay. But then again, do I really want to fight him, if I see him? Sigh, let's just cross that bridge when it comes. Tenten thought. Gate 31, Team Taki. Sen Sashinal. A forest full of friends. I can't wait to meet them. I just hope I'll run into friend Naruto or Gaara-kun. Tee-hee, this is going to be so much fun. Fu thought excitedly. Gate 22, Team KUMO. I have to admit, Konoha really knows how to make these exams interesting. This forest is creeping the hell out of me. And I can tell, many of the Konoha candidates are gunning for us. Yugito said. I'm not really surprised though. We came here with 3 other teams, but now there's only us and Samli's team. I guess they just want to finish us off, and send us our merry way home, or to hell. Likely hell. I still don't understand why Lord Raikage allowed us to come here. It might not say on paper, but are in enemy territory. Karui said. Grow a spine, Karui. I don't care if we're doing the Chunin exam in Konoha. Nothing is going to stop me from becoming Raikage. Yugito said with determination. Regardless, let's try to stay clear of those that we consider dangerous. Like that Senju kid. Omoi pointed out. Oh, don't you worry about my Naruto. If I run into him, it'll be just perfect, she said, while mentally high-fiving Matatabi for the cat pun. Gate 24, Team Karen. Sigh, this is your moment, Karen. You can do this. Karen then turns her head to look at her boneheaded teammates, in annoyance. Don't let these overbiting assholes hold you back. I will become Chunin, and I will find other Uzumakis like me, Dadabayo. Karen said with determination. As Karen was so deep in her thoughts, she and her teammates didn't realize that they are being watched by a pitch-black cartoonish-looking mouse. Gate 25, Team Root. I've located our target, Tanuki-san. The Uzumaki girl is located at the entrance of Gate 24. We must be lucky, since they are practically next to us. Sai said with a fake smile. There is no such thing as luck, you idiot. I bribed one of the officials to give us this gate entrance. I make my own luck, so don't get confused. Make sure your little rodent doesn't lose sight of her. We'll attack when their guard is down, Tanuki ordered. If you don't mind me asking, Tanuki-san, but why are we after her? Sai boldly asked. It is not your place to ask questions, tool. If Danzo-sama orders you to retrieve her, you be a good tool, and retrieve her. Ask questions like that again, and I'll have your tongue ripped out. Do I make myself clear? Tanuki asked, with a firm voice. I don't think that is wise, Tanuki-san. Sai retorted. Tisk, and why is that? Tanuki asked. Because if you do, you won't be able to hear me call you dickless, Sai said with a fake smile. Why you insolent? Tanuki-san. Yakumo interrupted him, gaining his and Sai's attention. I'm sure Sai was only asking, so he can mentally prepare himself for the mission. Please forgive him. Yakumo pleaded with her emotionless voice. Tanuki was surprised that both his subordinates was still showing signs of human characteristics. It seems that they are not yet fully emotionless weapons of root. He might have to rectify that later, when they return to headquarters. But until then, he will tolerate them. Be grateful to Yakumo, Sai. She just saved your life. Tanuki said, with a calmer tone. Of course. Thank you, Yakumo. Sai said, with his fake smile. With Anko. As the clock strikes exactly at 2:30 p.m., it was time for the second test to begin. Alright, heads up, you maggots. The second part of the test has begun. Anko yelled out. And just like that, all 44 gates simultaneously open, as all the genins rushed into the forest. Not knowing that only death awaits them inside. With Team 10. As Naruto, Ino and Shikamaru made their way into the forest, they took refuge on a tall tree, gaining the perfect vantage point, and a good view of the lay of the land. They were also fairly hidden, thanks to all the branches and leaves that were surrounding them. Now they just need to find an enemy with an earth scroll. I'm gonna need a little boost, Kurama, Naruto said in his mind. Fine. But don't strain yourself, boy, Kurama said, as he channeled more of his chakra into Naruto's, boosting his natural powers tenfold. Whoa! What a rush! Now, let's do this, Naruto said, as he knelt down, and placed his index finger on the ground, as he uses his enhanced sensory perception, to literally search the entire forest. He was able to see so many chakra signatures, including the animals, which makes it a little harder to pinpoint. But he was able to detect several candidates near his area. Alright, I detect 3 teams near us. One of them is nearby, while the other 2 are closing in together, probably about to be engaged in combat. Naruto informed. So, who's the team near us? Ino asked. Judging from their chakra signature, I say they are from Kyomo. But it's not Yugito's team. Naruto clarified. What a shame. Can you tell if they have an earth scroll? Ino asked. I'm not really clairvoyant, Ino-chan. I can sense where people are exactly, but I can't see the insides of their pockets, like the Byakugan could. Naruto said. Then I guess, we just have to confront this Kyomo team and hope for the best. Where are they now? Shikamaru asked. 2 kilometers, that way, Naruto said, as he pointed his finger at the direction of their enemy. Then let's go say hello, Ino said with a smirk. Before that though. Naruto said, gaining Ino and Shikamaru's attention, as he walked forward, and made cross-sign hand seal. Multi-shadow clone jutsu. And just like that 30 solid clones appeared, standing before Naruto. Alright boys, your mission is simple. Spread out, and look for the remaining teams in this god-forsaken forest. This is strictly recon, so only engage if necessary. If you find our friends, help them if they are in trouble. Naruto then points his finger to the clone in front of him. You, on the other hand, have a special assignment. You will track down Kabuto and report his activities. I have channeled more of my chakra into you, so you'll last longer and can endure more damage than the rest. Sound good? Naruto ordered. Yes, sir. The clones yell in unison. Get to it then, Naruto dismisses them, as they all made a single hand seal. Camouflage jutsu. They all yell out in unison, and afterwards, they all turn invisible to the unaided eye. In an instant, all 30 invisible clones had spread out through the forest. While one of them was searching for Kabuto, via his Hiraition seal. Can you please teach me that jutsu, Naruto-kun? Because turning invisible is super cool. Ino asked with stars in her eyes. All in good time, milady. All in good time. For now, let's go see what scrolls those Kyomo guys have, Naruto said, as he led Ino and Shikamaru towards the Kyomo ninjas near them. When they arrived, landing on a tall tree branch, Team 10 saw 3 ninjas, wearing Kyomo-themed shinobi attire, simply standing in the clearing, probably discussing their plan of action. And they seemed to not notice Team 10's presence above them. Well, what do we do now? Ino asked. Like you said earlier, Ino-chan. Naruto said with a smirk, then he turns his head to both Ino and Shikamaru. You guys stay here. When you see an opening, feel free to jump in, Naruto said, and they both nodded in agreement. Naruto then walked forward, and jumped down from the branch he was standing on, landing silently in the clearing behind the Kyomo ninjas, who are still unaware of his presence. So he might as well, made his presence known to them. Hello there. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed. If you enjoyed this what if and want to see next part of it, comment down below and let me know. Also share this video with your friends. See you in the next video. Peace.